Yes, student. So, students, today we will see the topic recovery system under the concurrency control mechanism. A recovery system, as a name suggests, a system which is required to recover the our information where to prevent from the losing some information. Let us understand all the things step by step. First, we have a recovery system. What is mean by the actual this meaning? This is totally a theoretical portion. No unnecessary numerical will be applicable over here. So this is totally theoretical portion. So I'm speaking all the theory step by step. A computer system, like any other devices, that could be your computer or it could be any mobile device, that's subject to the failure from the variety of the causes. Yes, definitely. Your mobile may fail due to the some uh, uh, hardware failure, some software or app failure. So that is another reason. So your Android is not working. Maybe the operating system may fail. So disk crashes, power outage, software error, a fire in the machine room, and even sabotage. So in any failure, the information may be lost, and to prevent from this losing information, we have to use the recovery. So recovery is not a user end actually; it is a system. It should be system oriented. The database should have a recovery thing or recovery features. So therefore, then the database system must take actions in the advance to ensure that atomicity and durability property of the transaction. So atomicity and durability is here applicable over here. So far we have discussed the isolation in our log-based protocol while discussing the concurrency control. So concurrency control is much applicable to apply the isolation. Atomicity we have already discussed. Here we also discuss atomicity and durability. Durability will be applicable to understand the recovery system. And while talking about the isolation, we have already discussed. So how many property we have? Atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So isolation and consistency steps we have discussed in the our concurrency control mechanism. So in the recovery system, we will discuss about the atomicity and durability. Atomicity means with the data, which is the data nature we have, that should be same kind of the information as the information may disturb. Durability is saying to us if we have any kind of the failures, so to prevent from the failures, we have to use the durability. So durability should be the important point. So an integral part of the database system is a recovery scheme that can store the data, restore the database to the consistent state that existed before the failure. So that is the point. If your system is may fail, so what is the its previous of condition at which the consistent was there? It is just a point where I'm remembering example if Windows may fail. So if Windows is failure, so we have an option that is a recovery and backup. So what is will do the backup? Backup will keep the certain point at that moment where some was failed or some information was failed. So at the moment or the particular time or maybe the 2 days back or 1 day back, the our backup was taken by the just. So if system was failed, so at least through the backup data, we can restore our information. Recovery means we are trying to restore our information from our lost part. It is better idea to restore the some data at from the at certain moment rather than the loss the entire data. So the recovery scheme must also provide high availability, that is, it must minimize the time for which the database is not usable after the crash. This crash can be done by at any moment. So hardware failure may occur, power failure may occur. Suddenly power failure and software just not cope up with our system suddenly. So how we can do? So, but in the laptop we have a facility. If there is some limited power amount we have due to the just battery backup, we have a limited battery backup. So it will shut down automatically. Suppose we have a 5 or 10% battery backup, so it our system will shut down automatically. So that is a feature of the our Windows operating system we have. But in the when we're talking about the desktop system, we don't have any extra power or that is followed by the battery only. So how we can manage? Because we are the electrons are coming to the our machine directly from the our electricity board. So that is the reason where we have the many chance to our system may crash and the system will crash. So our information will lost in use work. So when we're dealing with the database, so to prevent from losing information, we have to use the recovery system from this point. So there is this idea about the recovery system only. Next is we have a failure classification. So when we have the failure classification, so there are various type of the failure classification. So what are the point? So there are various types of the failure classification we can that occur in our system. Each of which need to be dealt with a different manner. The simplest type of the failure is one that does not result the loss of the information in the system. The failure that is the failure that are more difficult to deal with are those that result in loss of the information. So from this perspective, we will see what is the classification we can. So it has the two type of the classification. One is a transaction failure, other one is system crash. For a betterment, I can take a simple example so you can easily understand the thing what is happening over here. While booking the ticket on the IRCTC, while booking the ticket on the flight, suppose that if your transaction was failed, transaction may fail due to the network issue. Suppose you are booking the ticket, then after booking the ticket, you are trying to do payment. So when the payment is done, but unfortunately transaction was not successful completely, so payment was deducted from your account, you got an SMS, then you will be worried. I didn't book the my ticket, but I lost my payment and my payment was deducted from my balance account. So that is a transaction failure. If transaction is failed, then transaction will fail, then it will be identified by the database or our software or our algorithm based manner, which described if transaction was not success, then what is a certain moment at which we can see. So people see the consistent state where transaction was not complete. The person was booked the ticket only, but payment was not done successfully from the merchant or merchandise. It was not successful. At that moment, if it is done, then it is better idea to we can generate a ticket and to mail to the person or we can give an SMS. Your ticket was successfully generated. So it has happened many times with us, and so I'm talking the real application right now. But what your transaction failure actually? Transaction failure can be done by the two way. One is a logical error, and other one is system error. So the transition can no longer continue with its normal execution because of some internal condition, such as a bad input. That is the logical error I am giving. Data not found, overflow, or resource limited exist. So exceeded. So that is the reason which will be identified by the logical error. So when we have a logical error, then transaction may definitely fail. System error. Logical error, you can easily find out where we have only the 5% can enter in the our system to access the data only. So now I am the sixth person who we just need to access the data. So I am unable to access because the fifth, all the fifth person, all the 5 persons are along with the or accessing the data. So I'm unable to access data. So that is a logical error because I can't enter. So I'm unable to find the data. That is the reason sometimes we can have. So if I'm trying to do some transition, so my transition will not be succeed. That is the reason. So that is the transition definitely will fail. Now next is a system error. The system has entered an undesirable state, just like a deadlock. Deadlock is the most important case where the or situation where the error may come definitely. So if we have a situation that is known as a deadlock, so definitely we can say the system may crash. And system error will produce identified by the deadlock situation. Because we are stuck in a loop, we are stuck in a condition where we are unable to move out from the situation. So as a result of which a transaction cannot continue with its normal execution, the transaction, however, can be re-executed at a later time because it is system error. So the re-execution of transaction will continue until we get a success. So this step will go continue manner, but transaction may failure. So this could be the kind of the one failure. Next, we have the system crash. System crash can be done by the hardware failure, of course. Suddenly, I'm working on my laptop. Suddenly, I found that is my audio device or my audio driver is not working. So I'm communicating with my respective teachers by unable to do. Why? Because my audio device is not working properly. But that is a hardware failure. So this is a system crash category in which we can failure any hardware. Or maybe the system also support the suppose the application may fail. So my operating system is working finely, but my device is not. My device is also working fine, but my device in Epic software I have the interface I'm using. that is not easily, or that not easily suits with my software or my hardware. So at the time, we can say the system crash. So hardware failure is the most important conditional case where system crash can be done, and it is happening with the bug. Your real application, you can say understand Microsoft Team. So suppose you are taking the attendance, but you are again leaving the meet automatically due to some bugs. So this is what your system is crashing by some bugs. So there are some bugs by which you are just leaving the meet again and again. This is to be to identified by the system crash. So malfunction can, due to the hardware malfunction or bugs in the database software in the operating system that causes the loss of the our content of the volatile storage, and it brings the transition processing to a halt or maybe abort. So the content of the non-volatile storage remains intact and is not corrupted. So the information which is stored in the non-volatile memory we can access, but the information which is stored in the volatile memory we're unable to do so. You have been observed this thing while facing the meeting on the Google Meet. So you are attending the meeting and you are passing the some chat on the Google Meet chat box. After some times, you suddenly, due to network issue, you just left out the meet. Then if you try to see the existing previous chat, what you have done, you are not able to see. Again, what is the problem? Because it was not stored into the your non-volatile memory. It was stored into the volatile memory. So when the power is off, or maybe the when the you left the meeting due to the uncertainty issues, you are not able to think. You are just able to see only those chat which are inside your volatile memory only. And this is really happening into the our real life application or real life world as well. So these are the two different failure case we can say could be happen: transition failure and other one is system failure. Yes, tell me any doubt so far? Yes, tell me right now any problem so far you have. So please you can ask me right now.
No, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So after this point, next we have a disk failure. So disk failure is kind of the failure. It decides that if some disk blocks are lost. Very practically speaking, right now, so you can easily understand. Suppose I'm having a disk. In my disk contains some bad sector. I'm just remembering this term. So I lost my I have some bad sector in my disk. It means there's some data blocks which are not able to function properly, or due to some technical issue, due to the some disk or the specified portion are failure, or it's not working properly. So we can say we have a bad sector. But all these are identified by the disk failure. So from this point, you people are required to understand our disk block are not working. So there are some bad sectors, or we can say there are some bad sectors. A disk block loses its content as a result of the either a head crash or the failure during the data transfer operation. You can do this activity. Suppose you are having a 1 GB movie. Okay. When you try to transfer your 1 GB movie from your pen drive to hard disk, you can just use the cut option. Do not use the copy option. You can use the cut option. While transferring or the 50 or 60%, you just eject your pen drive. What you will do? The data will not copy, entire data will not copy into the disk due to the you have removed the pen drive, you have ejected the pen drive. So that is the reason the information we have received so far 50-60%, that is a meaningless, because it is the corporate movie we are getting, and it is really happening so many times we are transferring the data different kind of things. So data we have on the disk, we can say it is failure. And now disk is failed. Suppose disk is failed, so the data which is stored in the particular movement or particular data block or sector, definitely we lost our data. So that could be the one kind of the failure active part. So copying the data on the other disk, or archival backups on the tactile media, just like the tapes, are used to recover from the failure. So this could be the point. And to determine how the system should recover from failures, we need to identify the failure mode. We need to identify the failure modes of those devices used for storing data. Next, we must consider how these failure modes affect the content of the database. So we can then propose algorithms to ensure database consistency and transaction atomicity despite failure. So in this case, we have an algorithm we known as a recovery algorithm. So what is the algorithm which are used by our recovery system that is identified by as a recovery algorithm? So we have the two parts in the recovery algorithm. Number one, we have over here action taken during normal transaction processing system to ensure that the enough information we are existing that allows the recovery from the failure or not. So that is the point we have to keep in mind. The recovery algorithm should have the two parts. Okay. And that is the next point is action takes after the failure. Action takes after the failure to recover the database content to a state that ensures the database consistency, transaction atomicity, and durability. So we can preserve the atomicity and durability while accessing the consistency state of our data. So this consistency state will be updated after the each and every transaction. So this is the point we have to keep in mind all the things properly step by step so people can do the work or people can save their work in the specified manner as he or she desired. So that is the point recovery algorithm should be there. Just like example, suppose you have lost your personal photo on your pen drive, whatever you have. So when you need to recover your family photograph from the pen drive, then what you will do? You will use some third-party tool. So third-party tool, what are these? These are the recovery tools, and we can say these are the supported by the recovery algorithms. So what it will do from our pen drive, there will be identified position that is consistent state that is to be recognized by the recovery algorithm. So recovery algorithm first try to find out what was the recovery state and at what moment what are the information we have stored to try to recover, but there's no guarantee, but at least there are good or licensed tools we are using, so at least there is some guarantee 70-80% we can recover our photos. And it has happened with many times while using the licensed tool of the easy recovery tool. So while I'm using the easy recovery tool, then I'm able to access, I'm able to recover all the files from my pen drive. So I did this activity, so that's why I have proof. Now, next point, I just maintain all the things. So that is to be done by the recovery algorithm. Okay. Now it is clear to all right now. So these are the three different failures. What are those? Transition failure, system crash, and disk failure. So these are the three different failures we have. Now it is clear to all right now. Or any problem? So please you can ask me right now. Is it clear to all?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay, so all these are the theoretical portion, but you people are required to understand step by step. So the concept should be clear. Now, storage structure. Storage structure is saying to us the various data items in the database may be stored and accessed in a number of the different storage media. To understand how to ensure the atomicity and durability property of the transaction we can maintain. So we must gain a better understanding of these storage media and their access methods. So we saw that storage media can be distinguished by the relative speed, capacity, and resilience to failure, and classified as a volatile storage or non-volatile storage. We review these terms and introduce another class of the storage called the stable storage. So if you remember the terms when we have discussed the various physical storage media, so we can say if we have any physical storage media which are supported by all these features, that is a good speed we must have. So this is happened with our hard disk. So in the coming days, if we're talking about the previous days, so we have a hard disk speed that is RPM. So our what is our RPM? That is rotation per minute. So what is the rotation per minute we have on our disk? So because our disk is rotating on our disk is rotating on our disk hard disk. So we have any disk that is to be rotated on its axis, and our head will read the information. So what is speed? So if you're having good RPM based hard disk, so definitely we have a good speed of our hard disk. So why? Because if I need to read some information, so by clicking one button, only by clicking on the one time, I can easily open the file. That is reason, that is the beauty of the good RPM of the our hard disk. Just see the RPM of the hard disk of your hard disk drive, or you can see this thing over the internet. What is the maximum RPM we have while purchasing the hard disk? And that is an important point. So we have some good capacity of our hard disk. Because capacity means now we have a minimum hard disk 1 terabyte, and depend on the laptop, so we can have the 512 GB. So this is the minimum GB we are getting nowadays. And resilience to failure, yeah, that is some, if there is some failure may occur due to any kind of technical issues or technical error, or some power failure may occur. So hard disks will prevent from the such part. 98 and 9 ME, and these are the two worst operating system. I did the lots of the work there, but I failed. So I'm sharing my experience over here. Whenever power goes, then my system shut down automatically, because I didn't use a laptop at that moment. I use a desktop. I found my Windows 98 was crashed. So now it's saying to us my system was crashed. It means my operating system was crashed. So I have to reinstall. And this has happened with me many times. In the 1,000 times it has happened with me from during the 1998 to 2002. These 4 years I installed the Windows 98 or ME on my machine 1,000 times. And this is a real thing. So I'm sharing with this point. So resilience to the failure should be, but now we have the Windows 90, not Windows 98, we have the 7, Windows 10 we have. Suppose some power failure, suppose Windows, some immediate suddenly hanged due to some other issue. So you can just press the or hold the power button on laptop, and then what happened at the time? Your Windows automatically off. So if you try to recover, you try to start, then it has the automatic recovery algorithm. It determines the our point, automatically gives the message, no problem. Your Windows will be on the safe. So power failure is just nowadays is not a part of our failure category of our Windows. So that is the Windows 7 onwards. I'm observing Windows 7 and Windows 10 does not supporting the power failure problem. No problem. Power is failing, so no issue. It has the good recovery algorithm. It automatically recovers the information. And see, that's why the Windows 10 is most popular rather than the Windows 8. You can observe Windows 7 is most popular than the Windows 8, while Windows 10 is most popular than Windows 8. So Windows 8 is having the limited features, but Windows 7 was the most popular, and then Windows 10. So now we have the Windows 10 in our pocket. We have the Windows 10 other things in different operating systems we have in our pocket in form of the mobile phones as well. You can use the Microsoft operating system, mobile phone operating system. You can use the Google's operating system, that is Android. You can use. So all these things we are maintaining the thing in the storage devices that is to be identified by the storage. So that is known as the stable storage. So our data will be stable. Our data will not be lost. That's why this term is given over here, stable storage. So we have the two things. One is a non-volatile storage and volatile storage. So if we're talking about the non-volatile storage, so we have the volatile storage and non-volatile storage. So if we're talking about the first point, we have a volatile storage. Yes, unlike or like we can say the volatile memory or non-volatile memory. So volatile storage, it means information residing in volatile memory does not usually survive system crash. When the power failure, the information which is stored in the RAM will lose automatically undoubtedly. An example of such a storage are main memory, that is a RAM. We have the cache memory. So the access to the volatile storage is extremely fast, both because the speed of the memory access itself, and because it is possible to access any data item in the volatile storage directly. But there is a drawback. The information which is stored inside the volatile memory will be lost when the power fails. So now non-volatile storage is just a reverse process of the reverse concept of the volatile memory. So information residing in the non-volatile storage survive system crashes. Example of the such storage are disk and magnetic tabs. So disks are stored for online storage, whereas the tabs are used for the archive storage. Where we have to store the permanent information, so we have the magnet tab we have. So that is the archival storage. But nowadays we have the online storage. Now we are having the good hard disk. Now, both, however, are subject to failure in case of the hard drive fail, or maybe the head or the cylinder of the hard disk may fail. So, which may result the loss of the information undoubtedly over here. So, from this point, we have a two type of the storage. That is a we have the non-volatile storage or volatile storage. But still, we have a question: what is stable storage? And now, what is the beauty of the learning the stable storage? So far, we have seen we are losing the information. So it is better idea to we can move to the non-volatile or volatile, but it is better idea to move to the stable storage. So now, what is the stable storage? It is a most important part. Read this point. Information residing in stable storage is never lost. It means never should be taken with a grain of the salt since theoretical never cannot be guaranteed. For example, it is possible through the extremely unlikely that a black hole may envelop the earth and permanently destroyed all data. So stable storage is just like we are the earth. It means earth has some data and we are the part of the black hole. There's no guarantee we can save the data, but we are assuming at least the stable storage will not lose your any data. So although the stable storage is theoretically impossible to obtain, but it can be closely approximated by the technique that makes the data loss extremely unlikely. So now we are observing from the Windows 10 in the today's era. So Windows 10 is supporting when power is failure suddenly, so no issue, Windows operating system will not be crashed. If it is crashing, then with the help of the recovery point or recovery mechanism, it recovers the system crashed part automatically without any problem. So that's why we can say stable storage we have over here, but there is no guarantee at each and every time. One or two times it is happening, each and every time there is no guarantee. So stable storage will just like a theoretical point we have over here, theoretical point only. But in the practical implementation so far we don't have, but we are assuming we are the part of the stable storage, like the Windows operating system 10. That is Windows Black and we have the Windows 10. So here we have a term recovery and atomicity. So before jumping to recovery and atomicity term, just do you have any problem? You can ask me right now. Yes, tell me. Do you have any problem?
No, sir.
Okay. So next term we have the recovery and atomicity. So we're talking about the recovery system. So let us understand things properly. What is atomicity and recovery? Reconsider again our simplified banking system application or example, as we have seen in our previous part many times. The transaction TI that transfer the rupees 50 to account A to account B. So account A has 1,000 rupees and B account having the 2,000 rupees. It is written over here as initial level. So now I'm transferring the 50 rupees to the account A to B. So A will be the 950 and B will be the 2050. Suppose that a system crash has occurred during the transition of execution of TI. And after the output has take place, but before the output was executed. So before output, so after the output and before output, it has been observed over here. It has been observed over here. We have a value 950 while B is a 2050. So in this case, this is not a good point. So A is just having the 1,000 rupees and B is having 1,000 rupees. So suppose I'm giving a 1,000 rupees to you and you have the 2,000 previously. So I have to just click on the transfer money. So after transfer money is given to the my side, that is my account was debited 50 rupees. Before crediting your 50 rupees amount or bank account, suddenly power fails. Then what happened at the time? You will say, sir, I didn't get the 50 rupees from my side, but I told you I have already sent you. And this is happening many times while filling the while depositing the fees in the campus. So you have deposited, but our account was not credited due to some technical issue. So that is to be identified by the recovery. Either your amount will roll back, or after some times my account was your account was or my friend's account was credited to whom I need to transfer the amount. So if I'm saying, you're telling me No, I have already sent you 50 rupees. So now I have the 950 and you have only 2000. This has happened due to the failure of transaction TI. Now you will say I didn't receive the 50 rupees. So what I will do? I will do the one more transaction. So what I will have the 900, and this time transaction was succeed perfectly. So you will have the 2050. So that is a big question here. I have the 900, you have the 2050. So instead of the 100 rupees, you are getting the 50 rupees only because second transaction was successful perfectly. So from this point, we have an inconsistent state. So into about the inconsistent state, we have a recovery and atomicity. So we will re-execute the TI. So that is the point we have. If we are not executing the TI once again, so we had already 950 and amount of the A will be the 2000. So this is again your inconsistent state. So failure may generate the inconsistent state on the transaction. That is the point. So in either case, the database is left in an inconsistent state, and so this is simply a recovery scheme. So when we have an inconsistent state in our database, so we have to use the recovery, but there's no guarantee each and every time the recovery will work finely. So what we have this state. Let me speak some statement over here. So when we have the inconsistent state, so the recovery scheme will not work, or there's no guarantee it will work finally. The reason is different. Reason is saying is simple. Difficulty is that we have to modify the database without having the assurance that the transaction will indeed commit. So what is the problem? I have transferred the 50 rupees and you didn't receive the 2000. You didn't receive the 50 rupees, and you are damn sure you have not received the 50 rupees from the my side. So what happened before committing? Before committing means before saving this information, or without knowing the acknowledgement from the your my friend side that is 50 rupees he or she has been received. So how I can say without receiving the acknowledgement, I will not update the my 1000 rupees to 950. I will keep the status that is 1000. When I get the acknowledgement, then I will update the my retail as a 1000 to 950. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just changing the inconsistent state. So inconsistent state to consistent state, I'm coming before after getting the acknowledgement. But I'm not getting the acknowledgement, maybe some other reason, maybe the transaction failure. So I will be stay on the my point that is I will be part of the consistent state only. So to avoid the inconsistent state, it's better idea to get the acknowledgement on the time. So this is to be identified by only the our atomicity and recovery. So recovery and atomicity will work together. This is already written over here, so I'm just speaking over here something only. And to achieve our goal of the atomicity, we must first output information describing the modification to stable storage and without modifying the database itself. So as we shall see, this procedure will allow us to output all the modification made by the committed transaction. It means the final changes will be done by our committed transaction. A transaction can be committed if transaction was completed successful, and if we need to update the transaction based information to the actual database, then we have to use the commit. Commit means now it is committed means now whatever changes we have done, that is finally saved to our database. Commit means here commit means commit. Okay, so this is to be the achieve the goal, that is the atomicity we are achieving. So what is the information we have? We are following the information properly. If we are not committing, so we are using the uncommitted data or incommitted data, so there is no guarantee we have done the thing properly. Okay, now this is clear to all right now. This information is clear to all right now. Yes, tell me. This is clear to all right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So any problem so far you have? So please you can ask me right now. Yes, tell me. Any problem so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.